My name is Evelyn Carter. I'm 24 years old. And I live in a small town in Oregon, far away from the fast, glittering cities, but close enough to believe that fairy tales could still happen in real life. Before I tell you the story of my worst night ever, let me ask you, have you ever trusted someone so deeply, only to feel like your entire world crashed in one night? Because that's what happened to me. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, because stories like mine aren't just stories. They're lessons, and sometimes they're confessions too. My marriage was supposed to be a dream. I met Daniel 2 years ago at a bookstore. He had this warm smile that could melt away 100 worries, and he always knew the right words to say. I thought fate had written his name across my heart. The wedding was small but beautiful, with fairy lights hanging above us and my parents crying happy tears. That night, the night that should have been the most magical of my life, turned into the night that shattered my faith and love. It was supposed to be our first night together as husband and wife. I had so many expectations, so many little fantasies. I had chosen the softest satin dress, sprayed perfume behind my ears, and told myself that no matter how nervous I was, everything would be perfect. But when we entered the room, I noticed something strange in Daniel's eyes. A kind of hesitation, a flicker of guilt maybe, though I pushed the thought aside. Maybe he's nervous too, I told myself. We talked for a while, but the conversations felt forced, like he was trying to keep his mind elsewhere. Then suddenly, in the middle of our awkward laughter, the door creaked open. My heart froze. A woman stood there, tall, confident, with a smile that was anything but innocent. "Well," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm, "I see the fairy tale is happening." Daniel's face went pale. I didn't need anyone to tell me who she was. I could feel it, the way his eyes darted to her, the way his lips trembled. She was his ex, his past, the past that clearly wasn't buried. "What are you doing here, Claire?" he stammered, his voice breaking, but not strong enough, not defensive enough. My chest tightened. I wanted him to throw her out, to protect me, to prove to me that I was his only choice. But he didn't. He hesitated, as if the sight of her brought back 1,000 memories. That was the moment I felt something crack inside me. That night, instead of intimacy, instead of love, I felt betrayal knocking on my chest like a storm that wouldn't stop. Claire laughed, a cruel sound that echoed in the room. "Don't worry, sweetheart," she said to me, her eyes scanning me from head to toe. "He always comes back." My stomach twisted, my face burned, and I wanted to scream, but my voice drowned in silence. Daniel tried to calm the situation, but his attempts felt weak. He told her to leave, and eventually she did, slamming the door behind her, but the damage was done. My fairy tale was poisoned. My worst night had begun. I lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why destiny had played such a cruel joke on me. Was I not enough? Did I marry a man whose heart still belonged to another? The next morning, I didn't even recognize myself in the mirror. My eyes were swollen, my smile gone, my soul hollow. Daniel tried to apologize. He swore he had cut ties with Claire, that she was just jealous, that she wanted to ruin what we had. He said he loved me, that I was his choice, that the past didn't matter anymore. And for a moment, I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that love was stronger than pain, but the seed of doubt had been planted deep inside me, and no amount of sweet words could pull it out. Days turned into weeks, and every little thing he did made me question his loyalty. If he smiled at his phone, I wondered who he was texting. If he came home late, I wondered who he was with. Love turned into suspicion, and suspicion turned into quiet resentment. I would sit across the dinner table, forcing a smile, while inside I was screaming, "Why did you choose me if your heart wasn't free?" Sometimes I hated him. Sometimes I hated myself for still loving him despite the betrayal. Marriage, I realized, wasn't about wearing a white dress or cutting a cake together. It was about trust, and without trust, it's like living in a house built on sand, waiting for the storm to wash it all away. And yet, there were moments, small fleeting moments, when he held me and I felt safe, when he looked into my eyes and I wanted to believe he was mine. That's the tragedy of love. It doesn't let you walk away easily, even when you're drowning. But that night, our first night, will forever remain the worst night ever. Not because of what happened, but because it changed me. It turned me from a girl who believed in fairy tales into a woman who saw the cracks in the glass. It taught me that sometimes, the people we love the most are also the ones who can hurt us the deepest. And even now, as I sit here telling you this story, I still wonder, was I a fool for trusting him? Or was I just human, desperate to believe in love? Either way, I'll never forget the pain, the shame, the bitterness of that night. My worst night ever wasn't just about a ruined wedding. It was about the death of innocence, the beginning of mistrust, and the harsh reminder that happily ever after isn't promised to anyone. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real lesson hidden in my story.